now. There we go. And these webinars, if you do want to join them, we do host them weekly, every Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays typically. Additionally, we do record them. We add them to our YouTube channel, or you can come check them out live. We typically also post a lot of those recordings in our Inside Real Estate Facebook group. So I want to make sure you guys know all your resources if you want to track this information down later, or if you want to join us for a future success meetup. So in your KV Core platforms, and I apologize, I've been playing around with my website in preparation, but I want to point out on your KV Core dashboards, when you first jump in, log into your platforms, if you head on over to KV Core Training and check out our live training calendar, that's where you're going to be able to see typically webinars held Monday through Friday every single week. You're just going to go and click on the time zone which best applies to you to open that on up. Now, I do apologize if anyone was looking for webinars yesterday. Inside Real Estate was on holiday, so there were no webinars on Monday the 10th. But for most instances, unless there is a holiday, you're going to see options Monday through Friday. And the success meetups in particular, as I mentioned, are held every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now, right now, the format is that Tuesdays and Thursdays do typically cover, more of the basics within the platform. So we try to focus on tools within KV Core itself, things that are accessible to all of our users. Now, Wednesdays can get a little bit more advanced, as they may talk about how to integrate different third-party sources, different tools, Zapier connections, advertisements to your platform, how to use things like Canva and utilize that also with KV Core, so they can get a little bit more advanced on those Wednesday sessions. Now, those KV Core Success Meetups I mentioned are tips, tricks, and Q&A. So we usually provide the tip or trick. We try to mix it up just about every session. We try to make it a little bit different. Occasionally you might see some recycled information, but we try to make sure, it's been several months or so since we've presented on kind of that topic. We try to get a fresh perspective. Additionally, it is Q&A. So if you guys have questions about your KV Core platforms, it's also here to help answer your questions. So feel free to pop any KV Core related questions in the chat or the Q&A if you've got them. I'm here to help you out as well. I want to make sure that today's time is valuable to you. Additionally, if anyone has suggestions for a feature of KV Core that they'd really love to know more about, feel free to pop that in the Q&A or chat. We're always taking suggestions for those success meetups as well. All right, so we know where to register for them live. Again, you just click on it and go to register for one session or all of them. Additionally, I'll point out through the live training calendar, as I mentioned, there's an Inside Real Estate Facebook discussion group and a YouTube channel where we also frequently post these recordings. So I'll just want to point that out at the top of the training calendar, because I'm surprised a lot of users tend to overlook that these links are up there. So I always like to draw attention to them. Now, that Facebook discussion group, besides, trying to post regularly what the topics will be for the success meetup and occasionally posting in, past recordings of a success meetup. This is also a great place to join on in if you're looking for help with KV Core or help with real estate in general. It's a pretty active Facebook group, always people posting various questions looking for insight. So I'll go ahead and I'll share that out in the chat with you all. I do want to mention that every single success meetup webinar that we do teach, typically, unless there's some sort of issue with the recording, they all get added to the YouTube channel. And I do want to mention, for anyone who may be watching this recording at a later date, maybe you're catching it on the YouTube channel, while you won't be able to see the chat bar pop up and you won't be able to click all the links that I'm sharing out, I'll try to show you, if it is a link that you can access through KV Core, I'll try to make sure you know where to go for that. But here is that Inside Real Estate YouTube channel. If you're looking just for the success meetups, I am a big fan of heading on over to our playlists. And you'll find that success meetups have their very own playlist right here on the YouTube channel. There's also Mastering KV Core Tools for Success, great beginner introduction videos, next level strategies if you're looking for something a little bit more advanced. So I'll share this out in the chat as well. And I do see some questions rolling into the chat. I will answer that in just a second for you. But before I do, I want to share out one more resource before we get started here. And I like to mention that if I've introduced myself, sorry, I'm in a whirlwind today. My name is Mariel Ortiz. I'm a product trainer here with Inside Real Estate, the larger company which brings you your KV Core platform. I teach a lot of our Tuesday sessions of our success meetups. And I do like to mention every time I teach one of these sessions, I do try to create a handy little doc that I will share out in the chat. Again, for those catching the YouTube replay, I usually always try to, add this doc somewhere either on YouTube, or if you're catching it in the Facebook group, I try to post it in the comments section. So I'll make sure to include this for you guys right now. This handy doc is not only kind of an agenda of the information that we'll talk about here today, but I try to embed links to our various KV Core support articles on a lot of the topics discussed. I've even included a couple links to various YouTube videos that we have in the past that are related to today's topic. I also like to post ahead of time the recording link. So give me a couple hours for this to render through Zoom, and I'll update the sheet with today's recording link. So even if, maybe you don't have the time to go head on over to YouTube and check for the recording there, if you do want to rewatch this, I try to include it in the stock as well. So a couple different resources for you guys before we jump in. And I did see a question in the chat, so let me go back and see what that was. Donald says, hi, when I tried to send an email through Campaign or text, it never goes through. How do I know if it was sent successfully? How can I edit what is within the email or text template and add links? Any advice on making a website more phone user friendly? Okay, a couple things to unpack there. So one thing I do want to mention, we do have a support article about email deliverability. Now, if you haven't done so already, Donald, I highly recommend creating yourself as a test lead in KV Core. Now, little pro tip when creating yourself as a test lead, do make sure for the phone and the email address that you're not using the same information that's in your KV Core profile. That won't be able to be delivered properly. But I always recommend adding a test lead in KV Core. So that way, if you want to see what an email or text message looks like before it's sent out to your contacts, and to just double check that everything's functioning as it should, you can send it out to that test lead first. Now, if you're certain that none of your emails or text messages are being sent, do recommend reporting that to support. So just so you know, you can reach out to support through chats 7 days a week, or you can shoot them an email at kvcore@insiderealestate.com. Something I like to also point out for you as well, for anyone that you've sent an email to, you should be able to double check in the timeline if they have opened the email. If you're not sure it's going through, maybe you haven't received confirmation, I would also double check to see if it says if they have opened the email. So another little pro tip as well. And then I also mentioned, I'm going to share out an article about email deliverability. So if you do feel like maybe your emails are perhaps going to spam, we also have an article about text deliverability as well. So I'll pop that in there as well. But let me add that one to the chat. So that support article I just popped in there is about email deliverability, some tips and ways to ensure that your emails aren't triggered as spam. So this might help you a little bit. Additionally, with text deliverability as well, how to prevent text message delivery. I'm not sure why I'm so tongue-tied here today. Delivery failures. So a couple of articles to hopefully help you with that process as well. You also mentioned you had a couple questions in there. So we'll unpack a couple of these and then before we jump into today's topic. But I do want to mention if you're sending out a email or a text message to someone, now there's a couple different ways you can do that in KV Core. What I just did right now is I'm looking at a contact from my CRM. This is their timeline here. And I can click, email or text message and can enter my own message on the spot or say use a KV Core template here. And there is inline editing. So I can edit message on the spots. Of course, if I'm just typing into this, it's only affecting this one person that I'm sending this email to. You also had a question about adding links. Now you can just copy and paste a link in there, or if you want to embed the message or embed a link in there, I can highlight my text, use this little link icon, and then pop whatever the URL is that I want to embed a link into. So hopefully that's kind of helping with those intro questions. Now, if I want to adjust a template in its entirety, so maybe I use the same email template for multiple contacts. Maybe I use it month after month, and I don't want to keep typing in that same message. If you're looking to create your own templates in KV Core, I'll let you know you'll find that through your marketing tab by heading over to Smart Campaigns. And there is a whole section on templates. And I don't want to overwhelm you guys with a million different support articles, but yes, there is a support article on creating templates in KV Core as well. For anyone who's not entirely sure how to find these support articles that I've been sharing out, one way that you could do it is support and training, this tab on the left-hand side. Support Center has all those articles. And typically you can just go click on, KV Core and, just type whatever topic it is that you're looking for more information on your website. So, or on your, in the search bar. So sorry, I was reading your next message there. So for example, if I'm looking for a support article on templates, just type that in there. Going to give me a couple different options. Templates can be used in a couple different ways. But there you go. Email and text templates overview. That's probably the one I would recommend if you're looking to create your own in KV Core and you want a little guidance. But yeah, it's right here through the template section. And again, marketing and smart campaigns. And you can create different templates for emails, text messages, tasks. Or additionally, you can see all the pre-created ones in KV Core. And if you just want to make adjustments to what's already existing there, just clone it. That'll make your own copy that you can, go and edit on the spot. All right. So covered a lot of things in our beginning message or in our few beginning introduction minutes. Thank you guys for your questions. But I will make sure that we also talk a bit about blog posting as well. And I'm sorry if you feel like your KV Core website isn't user friendly. Your KV Core websites, for anyone who's maybe brand new to the platform, not quite sure how to access their KV Core websites. I will mention a quick and easy way to go check out yours is through your little hidden menu in the corner. And go click on that. You'll usually see a little globe icon about the third or so item down. That's a quick way to your KV Core website. And your KV Core websites should be, already pretty easy to utilize either through a computer or through a phone as well. So I'm not sure exactly what your issues are with using your website on the phone. In which case I might be able to give you some more, maybe tips or tricks or suggestions or lead you somewhere, but I'm not exactly sure what issues you're experiencing there. So I hope that helps. And then also got a message from Ken here. I have my first Facebook ad to start running Wednesday. My ad was approved. Woohoo. But Facebook now wants to verify my domain. I'm not sure where this should be added in. under custom pair, paste the meta tag. Now, I feel like this might be a lot to go into on today's webinar, just because I know we have some other topics at play. Let me see. I'm sure we have a great video in here all about Facebook ads. I feel like we must have one that kind of goes through the process from start to finish. So we have Facebook ad basics, how to run Facebook ads on your KV Core website. We probably even have support articles on it as well. But just because it won't apply to everyone, and unfortunately, I don't have access to a Facebook ad that I can go and demo this, it might be a little hard for me to demonstrate here during today's session, but might recommend some of these videos for you. And then someone asked about what is best practice for adding past clients that I've added from an Excel spreadsheet. Should they be classified as closed? Ooh, I love that question. Okay. So for those of you that are looking to bring your existing contacts or database into KV Core, and I apologize, we'll get to your question. I always like to give a little background context if there's anyone who's, starting out fresh with the platform. But if you guys have contacts that you need to bring into KV Core, just know that if you have a file or spreadsheet of contacts, you can add them in mass. You don't have to manually enter those contacts in one at a time. You can head on over to the bulk lead import tool that's going to be located in the lead engine tab of your platforms. Now, when you're sending contacts over to, be imported into KV Core, I do like to mention, for anyone who doesn't know, we have a team on hand that can help you with this process. All you have to do is fill out a short submission form. Essentially, they're going to ask who the lead should be owned by, how they should be labeled, and if you want any automation to run for those contacts as soon as they're added to your CRM. But we got a question here about how they should be labeled. For your past clients specifically, should they be classified as closed? Well, closed is a status that we use here at KV Core. And just to kind of give a 5-minute demo on this real quick, I'm not going to import context, but we'll talk a little bit about labeling. I'm going to pretend to manually enter a contact here, and I'm going to focus in on how we label contacts here at KV Core. So every contact that you add to the system, you're going to need to let us know, or let your system know, I would say, what kind of deal you hope to have with this person, what their current status is. So where are they in their, say, we call it the client journey. Are they, a sphere contact of yours? Are they a prospect, a new lead? Are they currently your client or closed? That's kind of what this question's asking about. Now, I will mention that your past clients, in a lot of cases, I might actually give them a status of sphere. And then we'll talk about hashtags in a minute, but I'd hashtag them past clients. The reason I might not put them in this closed status is a lot of the pre-created statuses and deal types of KV Core, those pre-created labels are pre-created by KV Core because they correlate with our automation pieces like our smart campaigns. So there is a pre-created campaign ready to send out messaging for people who are, for example, new lead buyers, for people that are active, for sphere sellers or sphere homeowners. There's different ones for your clients, for your active leads. Now, the campaign that's meant for anyone with that closed status, if you go check out the messaging in the Smart Campaign section of your marketing tab, you're going to see that that closed campaign, the messaging it sends out is reaching out to them as if you had just closed a deal with them. So I do feel like that closed status is most appropriate for people you've just closed a deal with. Now, for a past client, I might label them as sphere. I might give them, give them a deal type. Are they currently looking, to buy? Probably not. Are they currently a homeowner? Most likely. Are they currently renting? Just give whatever's most appropriate to their current situation. And then I will mention you can also add a hashtag to that contact. Hashtags in KV Core can be any phrase of your choosing. So whatever you want to group your contacts by, and I would make their hashtag past client. So that way you can tell them apart from other Sphere contacts in your database. All right, so that's how, long-winded answer, but I hope that helped. Let's also see, Kaylee says she's not able to edit Smart Campaigns for some reason to tailor it to me rather than the script already created. What does the lock unlock mean besides the Smart Campaign? And why am I not able to edit the campaigns? Ooh, good question. So let's head over to marketing and to Smart Campaigns. I do want to make sure I'm answering these questions because it's a Q&A session. I promise we'll squeeze in some blog information as well. If at the very least, again, keep in mind that that doc that I shared out in the chat has lots of links to help you through that process too. So if we don't touch on everything today, you've got some resources. But campaigns, great question. So Kaylee, I would look at the campaigns that you're using and I would double check when you're looking to, just go to edit a campaign, check what it says under the scope column for your campaigns. So is that campaign scoped to you, the user, or is it scoped to your company? When you initially jump into KV Core, a lot of the campaigns that'll typically be pre-created or added for you are and oftentimes scoped to the company, which means the company essentially grabbed a copy of this campaign and added it for you. Now, in those cases, if I go to click on, say, a company campaign, so here's one for Bikini Bottom, there's some interesting stuff in this demo account. And you can see I can view the message, but I don't have the ability to edit it. It's probably what you're seeing if you go to open up a campaign that's not scoped to you. Now, if the campaign that you're trying to make edits to is one that's pre-created by KV Core, then you can just grab your own copy of that. And when it shows up in your campaign library, it's going to say scope to user. And what I mean by grabbing your own copy is you can head over to the KV Core library and you can go and, just add a copy of whatever campaign you want to use. And, the difference there is any campaigns that are scoped to me, the user, I get that additional edit box on the right where I can go and edit those messages. Now, you also mentioned, the lock box. So it's going to be a little tiny to see. I'll make this larger for just a minute here. You can see next to the left of each of the names, there's a little lock box there. Now, if you're just a individual user in KV Core, you'll probably never have a reason to lock your campaigns. I will say in some cases, your broker or admin may require that a campaign be used for lead follow-up, in which case what they could do is they could, either create a campaign or add a campaign to your library, turn it on, and if they lock that campaign, so to give you an example, what it looks like when it's locked, let me go and edit this real quick here. I'm going to edit a campaign so you can see what it looks like when it's locked. And I'm just going to scurry through this. I know I'm not explaining what I'm doing, but I'll show you what I mean in just a second here. Head back over. So that's what a locked campaign looks like. That lock symbol's closed and you'll notice it's a little darker. Once a campaign is locked, if it's locked and turned on, that means you can't go back and turn that campaign off. It does mean you're kind of required to use it. Now, if you guys are all new to KV Core, I would reach out to your broker or admin and ask maybe why they've locked that campaign, or if you are required to use it, there's always the possibility that someone locked it by accident. Again, if you got your own campaigns in here that are scoped to you, you should have the ability to go and edit it and unlock it. So it shouldn't really make a difference to you. You'll really have no reason to lock your own campaigns. But yes, it's just to enforce you that they're turned on or turned off. Now, one more pro tip before we move along here, because I see other questions. There's 10 new messages popping in the chat. One more quick thing I want to point out as well. If, say, it's not a KV Core campaign that you want to make edits to, maybe your company created a specific campaign for all of you. You can also make a copy or clone that campaign as well. So For example, if I go click back on Bikini Bottom, this company owned campaign, which is definitely something that KV Core did not create. It was probably a company admin. If I go to click on it, you'll notice there's a clone campaign option here. Now, I don't want to, this won't be relevant to everyone, so I'm not going to walk through the entire process. I will refer you guys to our support article on Smart Campaigns, walks through the cloning process. But essentially, you can make an exact copy of that campaign just by, clicking through next here. And it makes an exact copy that then you will have permissions to edit. So another workaround as well. All right. Is there a max number of contacts that you could send an email to? Could I send one to, say, 500 people at one time? Great question. In the Smart CRM, I will admit, if you're sending an email in mass, and let me make this a little smaller now it's a little intense. That's probably a good place to leave it at. If you're looking through your columns, if you're looking at contacts in your CRM and you're using this mass email feature, you're only going to be able to view 250 people at one time. But another way that you could send out an email in mass is your marketing tab. If you go to scheduled mass emails and you go to schedule an email this way, you can actually send it to, all of the contacts with a specific status. And you could actually select, we talked about statuses in KV Core. You could select every single lead status in here and effectively send it to everybody in your database. Or you could do it to everybody with a hashtag. Doesn't matter how many people that hashtag is applied to. Or you could even do it based on, saved filters in your CRM. So that would be a great way if you wanted to send it to, say 500 people at a time. I will mention, because KV Core at all costs wants to avoid your emails being detected as spam and not going through, it may send that email out in batches. So while I can, choose to send this message to all of my statuses in KV Core, and I can choose the date or time I want it to send out, don't be surprised if some people receive that slightly later than others. Again, just to help that from being detected as spam and not going through properly. Can you please show how to send the mass email to clients from the contact lists? What are the costs for having you guys import? Marie, it's totally free. If you have our lead configuration team import your contacts for you, that is a free service. Now, I still recommend you do a little prep work, but I think we've got other videos if you want some guidance on that. Let's see. Someone's doing a mass email every Monday to contacts, creating a template for this with 2 photos, information on the email and closing. Can this campaign be copied and changed each time? Yeah, absolutely. So you could create like a base template and just update it every time. That would be something I would recommend. Again, templates through that Smart Campaign section. So that would be a great idea. Additionally, if you're, promoting listings, I'm a big fan of our Promote a Listing Playbook that pre-creates email and text templates to notify people. Of course, that's, pre-create one for you. How do you choose a particular address type price range for a market report on specific clients? Yeah, unfortunately, market reports with KV Core, there are limitations. You can choose, I believe it's a city, a county, a zip code for your market report, and you can choose the frequency. But unfortunately, you can't really get more specific than that with your market reports. And yes, this Zoom meeting is recorded and will be added to the YouTube channel. And Joel, I'm not sure why you can't put your phone number on your website and you're not able to edit your email signature. Joel, can I ask what brokerage you work with? Because I will admit some specific brokerages may have it grayed out if you go to edit your My Realty. I didn't know that My Realty had issues with that. But typically, you can head to your profile in KV Core and you can edit your email signature and you can also choose there to toggle on that your phone number shows up on your website. Now, I know with some brokerages, this may be locked. Okay. Yeah. Is it kind of grayed out if you try to edit here? Is a lot of the information's, yeah. Okay. Do you have a specific like intranet for your brokerage that they, add in contact information for you, or maybe had this information populate over? You're not quite sure. I would double check with your admin or broker. If it's working this way for you, it's probably locked for the entire brokerage. So there may be another area where that information is populating from. If your broker admin doesn't know what you're talking about, and it happens to be some unique case use for you, that sounds like a bug. And in which case I would reach out to support. But reach out to your admin or broker first. If it's happening to you, it's likely something that's set in place for your entire brokerage. All right. Now, I know we have more questions going on here. Yes, the Zoom was recorded. It will get added to the YouTube channel. I'm not sure exactly what. Sometimes it's same day, sometimes it's a couple days. Additionally, I do add it to my agenda, which we're going to get to in just a second here. And we are going to talk a little bit about, blogging. So I want to make sure we fit into today's contact here too, because I know there's a lot of people that joined in that, heard, hey, we're talking about blogs today, and that's what they're here for. So I want to make sure we also talk about today's topic. All right. So just double checking there. And for support, there is not a direct support number for agents. You can chat with support through, you'll see a little chat bubble probably in the bottom right-hand corner where you can go to send a message. Additionally, you can email support. It's at kvcore@insiderealestate.com. I'll pop that in the chat too, actually. kvcore@insiderealestate.com. I think I've actually even included possibly a support article to how to reach out to support in my agenda as well. All right. So let's talk a little bit about blogging. Now, this is going to probably be the condensed version if necessary. If this becomes, if we have a lot of questions about blogs afterwards, this could be kind of maybe a two-parter session. Maybe next Tuesday, we'll do part 2 of starting a blog. But the key parts that I wanted to make sure we hit on today is, why it's helpful to add a blog through kvCore, how to blog through kvCore, what to blog about in kvCore, and ways to promote your blog and use the content elsewhere. So let's unpack this agenda a little bit. So when it comes to reasons why it's a good idea to blog through kvCore. Well, if you didn't know, if you have an integrated kvCore website, you have the capability to blog on that website. It's pretty easy to add a post, either from this little quick actions dropdown that we used earlier for, when I demonstrated how to create a contact in kvCore, you can add a blog post this way. Or also if you go to the Web and IDX tab in kvCore, there's a quick and easy way you can get to blogging there as well. And that blog is going to show up on your kvCore website. So I'll give a little visual of that as well. We'll load up my kvCore demo site. Now, I do want to mention, depending on your brokerage, you might have some subtle differences with your kvCore website, but typically you all have the capability to blog. And that blog's going to appear in a couple different places. You'll have your agent drop-down menu where if you have any blogs, they'll show up here. Additionally, blogs will typically showcase, pardon the quick scroll here, at the bottom of the home page of your website. Now, blog posts, are helpful for a couple of reasons. It's going to add SEO value to your kvCore website. The more you update your website, the more, content that you add to it, the greater likelihood that people are going to be able to locate your website, when doing a Google search. The greater likelihood that your website is going to be easy to find when searching. Helps with that search engine optimization. And yes, I've included a support article, some tips and tricks for improving your search engine optimization. Additionally, blogging through kvCore is another helpful way to, generate more leads. Again, the more people that are directed to your website, and the more that we can give them interesting content that has them stick around, greater likelihood that they might register, greater likelihood that we're going to put them in front of more houses, home valuations, ways to, kind of capture them. So we'll talk a little bit about, even if you're blogging about something maybe totally unrelated to real estate, maybe at the bottom of your blog, you decide to add in some links to the newest homes for sale in your area or your newest listing, or maybe just provide a link, a little embedded link that says, click here to find out what your home is worth, and direct them to, the home valuation page of your website so they can sign up there. So different ways that you can lead it back in a way that's going to generate more leads for you. Additionally, think about your personal contacts, your sphere of influence, your friends or family members, or, neighbors, people who maybe aren't looking to buy or sell a home with you, but they might be a really great source for referral. And we want to make sure we're keeping in contact with those sphere contacts too, because again, we want to increase our exposure. We want to increase our chances of getting a referral. We want to increase our chances where if that personal friend or family member, if they change their mind down the road, decide to buy or sell a home, that they think of us first for that deal. So blog posting, just driving everybody to that blog post, letting them know when you have a blog post, reminding them that you do blog posts on your website is a great way to nurture and keep everyone up to date with, your life, or, depending on what you blog about, home ideas, share off your expertise. We'll get into subjects on what to blog about in just a minute here. Additionally, just another idea or suggestion, your blogs could be not only an opportunity to promote yourself and share kind of your expertise, but additionally a chance to promote your local area or promote vendors or promote, local businesses. Great kind of cross promotion idea. If you are, know a local business around you personally, whether that be a restaurant or, something where a supply store or something, somewhat real estate related, maybe someone that you use for home staging or cleaning or repair. A great way to kind of cross promote is talk to that vendor or that business owner and ask if they might be willing to provide you with a discount code or a coupon, and in exchange for maybe blogging about them on your website. Now, you've given, your consumers incentive to go check out your website. Hey, there's a discount code if you go check out my blog, but you're also giving the business, a little bit of attention. You're helping drive business for your community. Maybe your business, might down the road have some referrals for you or direct people to your website for the coupon code. So there's multiple ways that can be used for a multitude of purposes. So just different ways that you can kind of use those blog posts to benefit you. Now, how to blog through KV Core. I already mentioned that you can go to Web and IDX, go to your blog tab, or you can go to quick actions and click on blog post. It's going to take you to the same place. And creating a blog post is really just so easy. All you got to do is click this add post button on the right. You'll come up with a title. Now I've got a link to a support article that we have on writing tips for blog posts. You want to make sure that your title is something catchy. Something that's really going to draw that reader in. This is your call to action. So it gives you the example, instead of saying homes for sale in Salt Lake City, Utah, you could say the top 5 most interesting homes for sale in Salt Lake City, Utah, and, give a date. So make it very specific, make it exciting. You can overhype it a little bit. Maybe it's not the top 5 most interesting homes to everyone, but it's definitely going to draw people there. It's not a crime to make it a little bit, provide some clickbait, to entice them on over to your blog. So you'll create a title there, and then you'll add in your content, as you can go and you can type your content directly in. You'll notice there's places for you to embed links if you want to. There is a source code section. So if you wanted to embed the code to a video, you can add that to your blog posts. There is a place where you can also upload images for your blog post, or, if the images is sourced online somewhere, you can add in that image that way as well. So you just create your content here. You can also bullet point it, change the font, the sizing, whatever makes sense to you for your blog post. And then something else I'll mention here as well, publish date. Just choose the date and time that you want this to be published out. So what you could also do is you don't have to create a unique blog post every time you want one to show up on your website. You could create 10 blog posts. I think I almost said blog posts in advance and have them all published on different dates. You could do one, maybe you have a weekly blog, or, maybe you just have the bandwidth for a bi-weekly blog. But I would definitely advise, if you are considering blog posting, it's a good idea to make this a regular habit. So look at your calendar, look at what you have bandwidth for. Even if, I will admit a lot of times I only blog on holidays, and maybe I'll just post, local holiday events in my area. But, at least that's kind of a regular event. So my users know that, if a holiday comes around, there's probably a blog post, and that's kind of, a reoccurring schedule that they can go and check on it. So I do recommend posting on a schedule. And again, the more frequently you post, the greater it's going to prove, that search engine optimization as well. But you can't schedule them ahead of time. So let's talk a little bit about what to blog about, ways to promote. And I know I saw a question in the chat about sending mass email from the contacts list. If you could also mention in the chat if there was something specific about mass emails that you wanted me to kind of demonstrate, feel free to let me know. We do, I believe, have support. We definitely have support articles on scheduled mass emails. I do believe we have a video in the YouTube channel as well. I'm just not sure exactly kind of what your questions are about it. I know we did a brief demo of the scheduled mass emailer tool and how you can choose which contacts receive that email. But if there's something specific you need to know, let me know. All right. So what to blog about in KP Core? Now, real estate is probably the obvious choice for a lot of you. But, it doesn't have to be just about real estate. I'm sure some of you guys out there, maybe you're brand new real estate agents, and maybe you're not, feeling like you're necessarily an expert at real estate, but you probably have other areas of expertise. What was your past work experience? Maybe maybe you like to, maybe you have a book club in your free time. Maybe maybe you're a mom of 5 and you have tips about that. You can really blog about anything and find a way to tie it back to real estate, or even if it seems totally, off base. Again, I mentioned things about adding little sneaky links in the bottom about, click here to view homes in your area, or click here to sign up for a home valuation. There's always ways you can tie it back in. I've got some other suggestions here. We already talked about ways to incorporate, local businesses or vendors. You can blog about them. Local restaurants is a great one. So you look like not only that you care about your community, but you're a community expert. Have you lived in, your area that you're doing real estate in for years or all of your life? Promote that. That's a marketable, your local expertise is definitely a marketable feature. I think new contacts, new clients are going to enjoy working with you because you clearly know a lot about the area in which you're helping people buy or sell homes. So not a bad idea to blog post about that. Most popular cuisine in the San Diego area, for example. Additionally, it could be about local events. I mentioned that I sometimes post on holidays. Maybe I'll do a quick Google search. Last holiday was Easter. So I'll do a quick Google search, best places for Easter egg hunts. And, I'm located in San Diego, California. So I type in San Diego, California there. And, you don't want to just copy and paste someone else's article, but you could paraphrase, give credit to the resource that you're gathering this event information for, and then you're getting additional exposure to them. And you're also, having something to blog about. You're showing that you know things about your local area. So lots of different examples. I have a lot of users that, blog about, maybe they just love to cook or love home design or landscaping. There's always ways you can tie that back into real estate. And there's, got a video included here about blogging ideas and, some writing tips for blog posts as well. Now, once you've blogged on your website, that's a great initial step, but we can also use that content elsewhere. We can also remind our users to go check out our blog posts. And there's multiple ways that you could do that. We demonstrated, through your smart CRM, maybe I want to, mass email and text, everybody, or maybe it's a blog post that's really most relevant to my sphere or my clients or my closed. I could choose those people and, just mass email or text out, hey, I've got a new blog post, share the link on your website. But additionally, more than that, not a bad idea to share that blog link on social media. Every time you create a blog post, it does have a link that you can go back and reference. So even if it's after that blog has posted, you can grab that link and share it out again. Additionally, you could use things like the scheduled mass emailer tool and create something like a monthly newsletter. If you blog twice a month or monthly, maybe include something about your blog post in your monthly newsletter. So I'll click on the scheduled mass emailer tool before we're finished here, because I know there are some people with questions about them, but I have included a link to a support article here. And then additionally, you could even do something where maybe you create a smart campaign. You'd have to build out something very custom that directs them to that link on your website. So directs them to the blog page of your website on a recurring basis. So maybe you go into KV Core and you go and you create a smart campaign. Just giving a super quick example of this. Now, to really have this be effective with a campaign, you would have to reliably post at regular intervals. So you'd have to have this kind of planned out in advance. So we'll give the example, maybe I post, a blog every 2 weeks. So I could do something like I could create a campaign, and we're going to do this for, this campaign is going to be added to everyone with hashtag. We'll do hashtag blog posts. So that way I can kind of be specific about who receives this campaign. It might be something that I want to run for just specific people. Maybe I request people to, have some button or some custom page or some sort of sign up sheet where they can sign up to get alerted about my blog posts. And then I put them on a campaign. So different ways you could do this. But maybe I decide, it's triggered by a hashtag, or maybe I have this campaign trigger for all the contacts in my system that are clients, or everyone I've ever closed a deal with gets this reoccurring, reminder to go check out blogs on my website. So there are a couple different ways you could do it. We'll stick with that blog post example. Now, I probably want this campaign to always run, even if, they're receiving other messaging from a different campaign. I don't want them to stop receiving that campaign messaging, or I don't want this campaign to be prioritized over another one. I'm going to want that campaign to always run. Locked. Again, we talked about locking campaigns earlier, probably not going to really be relevant for you. We can leave that unlocked. Now, choose who it's designed for. This is not going to really make a huge difference if, it's for a blog post, Doesn't matter if they're a buyer or a seller or renter, they can all be notified when I blog. And I'm going to make the campaign name be something that's memorable to me. Maybe it's a blog post campaign. Keep in mind, my users never see what that's named. It's just for me, so I can see this campaign amongst the other campaigns in my library. And I might just, fill out for a description, campaign reminder to contacts about when I post a blog. There we go. And I'll go ahead and I'll hit next. And, when I create this campaign, there's not going to be anything in it. So here's that blog post campaign I was looking for. Then I need to add in some actions. So decide how you want your users to be notified, whether it's by email or text or a combination. So I'll add in an email here. And maybe all that email says, I can use the same template for every single one. Maybe that template is, maybe this email message says, hi, or check out my blog is the message. And maybe the message says, hi. We'll add in, first name. I've added a new blog post to my site. Here's the link, add in, make it sound a little bit nicer than that. I'm trying to do this. We're under a time crunch now. So I'm trying to do this a little bit faster. And then I'll just go to my website, and to give them that link, I'm just going to go to the blog page of my website, copy that URL, and, I can embed the link in my message, or I can just pop it in there, whatever makes sense to me. There we go. We'll just pop it in there. There's a link. And I could have this send out, maybe every, we said about every 2 weeks or so I blog posts. So maybe every 14 days, they receive this reminder. Now, I would want to make sure that when I'm putting people on this campaign, that it does actually sync up with the day that I am posting a blog on my website. So that's one word of caution, though, if you're trying to do this. But that could be kind of a workaround to remind people to go check out blog posts on your website. And that way, I could set this up for, I could do the same sort of template, could be the exact same message. I could make it more specific if I want to mention a little bit about what each blog post is like. But of course, that makes more work for me. But I could just do something as general as this and have that message, have campaign actions, every 14, it would be 14 days. And then the next one I would do, on day 20, what would that be? 14 plus 14 on the 28th. And then, 14 days from that, they receive another message. So I could have this campaign going for a while where it just reminds them to go check blog posts on my website. So kind of a roundabout way that you could do that as well. All right, folks. I know that was a speed run of blogs. I have included lots of resources on that agenda for you guys, including, videos on how to embed a video into your blog, use ChatGPT to generate content for your blogs, a video on making a blog in general. Additionally, a little bonus here, I just want to explain this. In KV Core, in our marketplace, I'll point out marketplace. This is where you can go to purchase add-ons for your KV Core platform. If you like the idea of monthly newsletters and blogs, but you just don't have the bandwidth to do it, but you would be interested in paying for someone at KV Core to create a newsletter or a blog for you, I'd just like to point out that we've just added some additions to our done for you services option here in the marketplace, where if I go to learn more, it used to be that you'd have to book a one-on-one consult. It could take a little bit of time to book a time with them and, let them know what it is you want them to make for you. Well, now there's an easy option where you can just purchase newsletters and blogs. And this is pre-created for you in KV Core. So that is an option. If you want to know more about it, there's a video here. Again, I found that through the marketplace at Done For You Services, and I have included a link. So, all right. So we've covered the agenda. let's double check those questions with the last couple minutes that we have to wrap it on up. And just the newest question that I'm seeing here, Joel asked, what's the name of the YouTube channel for KV Core? It's actually our Inside Real Estate YouTube channel. So I apologize. Sometimes I occasionally call KV Core and Inside Real Estate interchangeably. It's the Inside Real Estate YouTube channel, which again, you can find from YouTube. You can find it from our live training calendar. I've also included links in my webinar agenda if you want to go click on that link in the chat. All right, let's also see. Erica in the Q&A section said, when I contacted KV Core via chat bubble, they asked why solds are not coming to my KV Core. They told me my MLS does not support it. No. I know there are some issues or there are some limitations with sold data. Now, if you're sure that your MLS does provide sold data, I would double check, say, your listings tab here. There is a section, if your MLS does populate sold data, that you can go and see some of that information, and you can email or text it out. Now, I know that's not something you can specifically choose through things like market reports or alerts to specifically choose, sold listings. That is just some limitations that exist within KV Core. And someone mentioned in the chat, how do you clear the client's name/activities once called or contacted on the dashboard? If you're talking about that activity stream, this unfortunately, cannot be cleared. It's got a running record for you, so you can always see that activity here. Now, if you're talking about, removing contacts from your calls or tasks, there should be the capability to, we'll go look at my past due calls for a second. You do technically have the ability to delete those if you want to. I will mention, if you've never contacted a lead through KV Core, unless it's a sphere contact, if it's a prospect or a new lead or an active lead, just be aware if you do delete those calls or tasks that are assigned to you, it might show up again in the future. Because if KV Core doesn't think you've ever reached out to this person, they're not going to understand why why you haven't reached out. It's always going to encourage you to reach out to those leads that you've never been in contact with. And since we're having a lot of questions on the activity stream, let's also talk about, when someone says, because there's only so much space on that page. It does go back, it does scroll down quite a ways here, and you can go and load older items. I will let you know, it's always going to show the newest activity at the top here. So you can always see the newest lead activity up here at the top. So you don't have to worry about your new activity not showing up on the activity stream. So you don't have to really worry about removing it. Should always show here. Additionally, if your main priority is just viewing your new leads or new emails, there's filtering options here as well for your activity. So right now it's showing all activity, but if I just came to my activity stream because I want to see my new leads, I can, toggle that on and just see those if that's what I want to focus on. And someone also asked about what's the fire symbol on the leads. If you're looking at your activity stream and you see that little flame symbol in the corner, that's KV Core indicating that person might be a hot lead. So if they keep coming back to your website repeatedly to look at listings and you see that flame symbol, that's probably why. Now let's also double check, because I know I missed a couple other questions and I know we're right over time, so I'll see if I can fit in one or two more. Of course, if this is all the time that you had with us, thanks for joining here. Again, this was recorded. I'll make sure it gets added to my agenda later. Jira, I don't think I saw you mention anything about scheduled mass emails. Again, I recommend, referencing, we've got a lot of YouTube videos on scheduled mass emails, I'm sure. And additionally, in that agenda that I shared out, I mentioned there is a link to the scheduled mass emailer tool. So if you have questions about how it works, that support article should be pretty thorough. And then Erica said, I asked support about this the other day and they said you can no longer schedule them ahead of time like you are showing it. So it gets saved as a draft. So I asked them why they still had the option on the bottom so you're sure to schedule them ahead of time. You can show it. Are you talking about blog posts? Just double check in there. Talking about posting them or creating them ahead of time. It's not allowing you to schedule them. Not sure. I'll have to check it in another account because I haven't heard of any updates like that. I'm not sure why they would change that feature, but as far as I know, you can schedule them in advance. Test blog, we'll add that in here. Test blog, we'll just try it now. Oh, I do see. Yeah, what you mean. Publish now or save as a draft. Just going to click this real quick just to double check. Okay. Save as a draft. Yeah, you might be right there. I'll have to double check with our team, but I hadn't heard of them changing that feature. And that does seem funny that you still have that publish date that you can't set them ahead of time. It might be also the time that I have set here. I'll have to play around with that, but thanks for drawing that to my attention. I hadn't heard of any changes to that, so I'll have to double check that on blogs. Because as far as I know, that's always been something that you can schedule in advance. All right. Okay, I think we've answered a lot of the questions here. I may have missed one or two, just trying to scroll back here really quick. Remax company blog was shared. Is that still available with KD Core? I will say if you're, I would double check, ask your admin or broker what your larger like office or company website is. Copy that URL because they can blog post to say a company or office website. And you could share out that information as well if your larger brokerage is posting some blogs there, and you could, again, recycle that content. Maybe it's not your specific blog, but you could still direct consumers to that site as well. So different ways that you could do that as well. And Mary said, with Remax, are we able to change the color on our websites, listing information, etc.? You should be able to do that through Webin IDX as well. If you go head on over to edit settings, it's where you can go to change things like custom colors, background image, so on and so forth. You should still have that capability with Remax. All right, I think now we've covered all the questions, and I do think it's time to wrap it up. I'm going to share it before we conclude here. I'm going to share it one more time, this agenda, for anyone who missed it. I'm popping it in the chat again. Again, has lots of support articles here. Has links to our YouTube channel, our Facebook group. I'll post today's recording here. There's an article about scheduled mass emailers. So if I missed anyone's questions, I apologize, but hopefully we've got enough resources to get you started. And I want to thank you guys for joining. Again, we do teach success meetups typically every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I'd love to see you guys at a future session. Hope this was helpful. I wish you lots of luck with your KD Core platforms. Thank you, Barry. Take care.